This is Otis Cue Pate from the Topkats Pride, and I'd like to thank you for joining me. And here, what I'd like to share is a fantastic in-depth article for USA Today, and it's called Beyond Flint. And Flint is a city in Michigan where there has been a tremendous water catastrophe that has been ongoing since April 2014. If you'd like to see the video and get a report on that, please check our channel. It says here, Beyond Flint, excessive lead levels found in almost 2,000 water systems across all 50 states. Tests for cities, rural subdivisions, and even schools and daycares serving water to 6 million people have found excessive and harmful levels of lead.
Across the country, nearly 2,000 drinking water systems serving 6 million people have failed lead tests since 2012. A USA Today network investigation found excessive and harmful levels of lead contamination in water taken from taps in homes, schools, and other buildings.
My name is Melissa Hoffman, and I'm a parent at Caroline. And sir, this is most definitely a problem that needs emergent care. We received test results today from all of our Ithaca City school districts. They all have lead in them. Every single school failed.
So I started to do a little bit of my own research because I was concerned what this meant for my kids. How long had they been consuming water with that high level of lead? At the point of the second testing and the results came back, I became extremely concerned because there were several areas within the school that were well beyond the actionable level.
My teacher didn't really explain it a lot, but the art teacher told us not to drink the water because there's something in it. She didn't really say what was in it, but she said just to go drink the water jugs in the halls.
Now I got to shoot where you made it?
Yeah.
Right here? So we went to the pediatrician. It's a normal poke in the finger. They take a very small amount of blood. It takes about 5 minutes to process. And she did my kids one at a time, and she came in and told me, your oldest is fine, your daughter is fine. She said, however, your youngest tested at 4.5, and she thought that was a little concerning because it was the first 4.5 they'd seen since they've been having more parents bring their children in for the testing. We have a weekly water update, water cooler maintenance, which is the situation we have going on right now. Accumulate the knowledge to be part of the solution. That's the most important thing. Know and understand your rights as a parent, because our health department is telling us that, there's no risk. You shouldn't have to take your children to the doctor to be tested for lead. But the health department doesn't know the immune system each child has or how they can process the heavy metals. So trust your gut, and it's better to be safe than sorry.
What I'd like to do is just touch on this fantastic article and leave a link in the description box and encourage you to go and check it out for your state, because again, this is a huge problem in the United States with lead in homes, in the painting, and lead in the water due to lead pipes or lead solder. But this article goes on to say here at the top, while a harsh national spotlight focuses on the drinking water crisis in Flint, Michigan, a USA Today network investigation has identified almost 2,000 additional water systems spanning all 50 states where testing has shown excessive levels of lead contamination over the past 4 years. The water systems, which reported lead levels exceeding Environmental Protection Agency standards, collectively supply water to 6 million people. About 350 of those systems provide drinking water to schools or daycares. The USA Today network investigation also found at least 180 of the water systems failed to notify customers about the high lead levels as federal rules require. Many of the highest reported lead levels were found at schools and daycares. A water sample at a Maine elementary school was 42 times higher than the EPA limit of 15 parts per billion, while a Pennsylvania preschool was 14 times higher, records show. At an elementary school in Ithaca, New York, one sample tested this year, and this article is from this year here in 2016, it says one sample tested this year at a stunning 5,000 parts per billion of lead, the EPA's threshold for hazardous waste. It goes on to say here, in all, the USA Today network analysis of EPA enforcement data identified 600 water systems in which tests at some taps showed lead levels topping 40 parts per billion, which is more than double the EPA's action level limit. And the action level limit means when officials have to take action and lower or get rid of the problem. While experts caution Flint is an extreme case of pervasive contamination, those lead levels rival the 400 plus of the worst samples in far more extensive testing of around 15,000 taps across Flint. The 40 part per billion mark also stands as a threshold that the EPA once labeled on its website an imminent health threat for pregnant women and young children. Because children, and of course, babies, infants, and pregnant women are much more susceptible to lead, water, lead contamination, exposure to lead, or what have you. That's what that is referring to. And it goes on to conclude, even at small doses, lead poses a health threat, especially for pregnant women and young children. Lead can damage growing brains and cause reduced IQs, attention disorders, and other problem behaviors. Infants fed formula made with contaminated tap water face significant risk. Adults are not immune, with evidence linking lead exposure to kidney problems, high blood pressure, and increased risks of cardiovascular deaths. And there in the sky blue writing, it says the EPA stresses there is no safe level of lead exposure. And I will read that again. It says the EPA stresses there is no safe level of lead exposure. So the 15 parts per billion that the EPA has as their action level limit is actually too high, because there is no safe level of lead exposure. And when you go to this link, which will be in the description box, you can even delve into more information that has to do with this gigantic problem of lead toxification in the United States.
Old lead pipes, lead solder, and lead plumbing in many homes is the problem. Water systems can add anti-corrosion chemicals to the water. That can help reduce the amount of lead leaching into our drinking water, but it does not eliminate all lead.
Seeing I had possibility of lead in it, I contacted landlord. He said for me not to worry about it because my trailer wasn't affected. But I've never drank the water here. I drink bottled water, always have, wherever I've lived, wherever I'm going to live.
Did it alarm you that you got a letter that there might be high lead levels in your area here?
Yes, because of my 8-year-old daughter. But she's another one that will drink bottled water. So I just told her don't drink the water, and we've been fine.
Because we're considered a public water source, because other people drink it, it's not just out of a home. Every place in this community has a well. The school has a well. So every year, it's either quarterly or every 6 months, we do testing. The state comes in and tells us what sinks that need to be tested. We have about 10 different sinks that are sampled throughout the school. And we have one sink that has been, over the last few years, testing high with lead.
The EPA and states have recently intensified their efforts to monitor water systems with high lead levels. The solution involves removing millions of lead service lines and replacing old plumbing. It will cost billions of dollars.
We'll be testing in the next month or so again. We'll see what that reading is, and then we'll go from there.
Our problem is regulations. It's impossible to meet the regulations that they pile on us. We have never failed a lead test at Sarge Lake Water. Now we have failed copper, but that can be done, caused from a number of things. What they're testing is the plumbing in people's homes and the plumbing's reaction to the water we're putting through there. They keep wanting us to do something about adding a product to our water so it will solve their lead problem. Well, the lead problem is because of the plumbing. Now, this day and time, there's a lot of old homes here. Probably is still some galvanized plumbing. So I don't know where you start to try to take care of the lead.
Search our database at lead.usatoday.com to see if your water system has recently had high lead levels. And there, read the stories of people dealing with lead across our nation.
Now, here on the screen is an absolute jewel to this outstanding report that the usatoday.com has done. It says here, Lead in the Water, a nationwide look. Since 2012, nearly 2,000 water systems across the U.S. have found elevated lead levels in tap water samples, a public health concern that requires them to notify customers and take action. Search or click the map to find systems in your area. The map table shows the state, name of the water system, the county it serves, the range of lead levels over 15 parts per billion, which is the action level that we talked about earlier, in samples that triggered an action status and total action level test over the period. Now, as you scroll down here, you can see this outstanding map, this blue colored map that goes into detail about the exceedancies of all 50 states of the United States. And of course, there are those that are much worse than others. For example, I'm going to do a couple of these here while we are congregating. The top two, the darkest color in denim blue, which would be Pennsylvania and Texas. Those places have had actually, when you look down here at Texas, there has been 183 different exceedancies above 15 parts per billion. In Texas, there has been 183. Next is Pennsylvania. And Pennsylvania has had 157 exceedancies above 15 parts per billion. Next in line, in the Agan blue color, is New York, New Jersey, see the color there? And over on the West Coast, California. And when you look at this map, this color-coded chart, or whatever you would like to call this outstanding work that's been provided, you can go into greater detail. Here I just want to show you how fantastic this is for reference and for research. And of course, here you can put your own place that you live for further information. But the next color, which is navy blue, we find Maine, as well as Massachusetts, as well as Connecticut, as well as Vermont, also North Carolina, Georgia, Florida, and last but not least, in the navy blue category is Wisconsin. Next, we have Cerulean Blue, which is this color here. And what I did was check out the different names for bluish colors because I wasn't exactly sure what to call these different shades of blue. And it turns out that the first blue that I mentioned is denim blue. The next blue that I mentioned with New York and New Jersey and California is called Aegean blue, Aegean blue. And after that is navy blue. We just talked about the navy blue places with Maine, Massachusetts, Connecticut, and so forth. And what we have now is cerulean blue, which is spelled Cerulean blue. With that, we have New Hampshire. We have Maryland right here. This is Maryland right here. We also have Virginia, Ohio, Michigan, Indiana, Illinois, Oklahoma, Colorado, Idaho, Oregon, Washington, and down here we also have Alaska that's part of that category. And what I must mention before we go to the last one is that most of the time people are not contacted about the exceedancies. People are not contacted. So I recommend for those who want to be safe that you have to check yourself. You have to get your own water kit from perhaps a local pharmacy. You could probably start at the pharmacy if they don't actually have them at the pharmacy, or you can call your local waterworks municipal location to get information on where you can get your own water kit to test your water, because you will have to get a filter system to make sure that you and your family are safe. And on top of that, what you will also find when you read this report about the problem in all the United States, you will find that there are other problems very often with the water, other contaminants and pathogens and things like that in the water that are also very, very, very sickening. And so you want your water filters to not only get rid of the lead, but also all the other pathogens and contaminants that could harm you and yours. But last not least here is the color sky blue. That's a sky blue color. And that's all of the states here. From Delaware, little right here, Delaware, Rhode Island, South Carolina, West Virginia, Kentucky, Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, and on and on and on. But this chart is from 2012. And although the USA Today did a fantastic job with their network, things probably have changed since this particular chart has been done. But I don't think that diminishes the importance and the greatness of the chart being provided to the public. So this is what I wanted to share with you, and to also let you know that the information for those who are interested in knowing about their lead problems in their water, the link will be in the description box. This particular article came from USA Today, and it's an analysis of EPA's Safe Drinking Water Information System, the SDWIS database. Please check this out, and I'll be doing more reports about this lead catastrophe and this gigantic problem going on in our country in the future.
Accumulate the knowledge to be part of the solution. That's the most important thing. Know and understand your rights as a parent, because our health department is telling us that, you know, there's no risk. You shouldn't have to take your children to the doctor to be tested for lead. but the health department doesn't know the immune system each child has or how they can process the heavy metals. So trust your gut, and it's better to be safe than sorry.
This is Otis Cue Pate. I appreciate you joining me. Take care.